nigga, I do this. I thought you knew this. Pop that old shit out. By my dick, I'm sucker niggas played out.
What's up, everybody? This is Marquise Dupree with Doc Sports. How everybody is doing on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. We had a great weekend, great Saturday of college football, and the weekend is still not over. Just want to recap some games, kind of see where we stand, and just kind of go over some scores and just kind of see how everybody is doing. In the weekend so far, we still have one more day to go on Monday. With the end of the weekend game with the Florida State and Boston College. But before we get to that, let's kind of recap some of the major games that we all kind of enjoyed. Like I said, please like and subscribe. Send me your comments, and let's just sit back and enjoy some college football. One of the things that stood out to me was Georgia. Georgia went in and pretty much destroyed number 14 Clemson of the ACC. Now, what's so unique about this game? I thought Clemson, and I still do think Clemson is going to make a run for the ACC. It'll shock me if they're not in that discussion. But Georgia ended up winning that game 34-3. Keep in mind, they beat FSU in a bowl game last year. I think it was 60 something to 3, and a lot of the FSU, the starters, didn't play in that game. Clemson had all their starters, and Georgia still beat them 34-3. First game of the season, so I don't put a lot of weight in, a lot of stock in. I think Clemson still have a lot of building and catching up to do. Tonight we have USC and LSU. LSU is number 13. USC is 23. That game goes down at 6:30 p.m. tonight. Just sit back and enjoy the game. Like I said, I don't like doing a lot of predictions, but if I'm going to take a team, I'm going to take LSU just because of what they did last year. And LSU is, not rebuilding, but they're pretty much closer. Brian Kelly has got them going in the right direction. I'm just very interested to see how they can advance. And so I do have LSU winning that game, but we'll see. USC is ranked number 23. One of the games I want to talk about is not really a high tier game, but it is a game that kind of dear to my heart. And just because I'm here in Mobile, Alabama, is South Alabama and North Texas. Keep in mind, South Alabama coach Kane Wommack is on the Alabama staff. Left last year to join the staff. And I get it. He can make more at the University of Alabama as an assistant coach than what South Alabama can pay as a head coach. And this is going to be South Alabama problem moving forward. To bring a high caliber guy in, not high caliber guy, but it's South Alabama, but a mid-tier guy. I thought maybe a few years ago, even before they hired King Womack, is that I thought somebody like T. Martin or either Damian Craig they should have gave one of the local guys an opportunity to coach for for probably about $1 million a year. But keep in mind, those guys now are making $2 million, $1.5, $1.3 million. And South Alabama only paying their coaches anywhere from $400,000 to $600,000. So Major Applewhite is doing the best he can. But keep in mind, he's probably one of the lowest paid college coaches in there because of South Alabama being in the Sun Belt. Now, South Alabama have made great improvements in the last few years, going out and getting guys from the transfer portal. But North Texas came in and beat them 52-38. Keep in mind, it was an interesting game in the first quarter, 7-3 North Texas. South Alabama actually went up 16-7 in the second quarter. And then North Texas came out in the second half, 28-7. South Alabama really couldn't do anything. They scored late. It was just depressing to see a school with so much fight just kind of lay over. But I get it. They need a leader. Maybe Major Applewhite has been around a while in the college football game, so maybe he can get things going in the right direction. Keep in mind, I'm not saying fire him at all. All I'm saying is make sure you give him a fair opportunity anywhere from 3 to 5 years to build his team. South Alabama is not a high caliber school, but they have scared some people now. You can go back and look at them back in the day when they first came on into the NCAA scene. They went into Tennessee. They played Southern Miss, and they gave those teams a good first half. You know, but keep in mind, small schools. I'm always afraid of small schools because they have nothing to lose. They have the nothing to lose mentality. And being here in Mobile, Alabama, that's one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to support South Alabama because they are a local brand. They are a local school, and it's just something to get out of doing. Fans, we have to show up for this team. I know our higher tier football teams, we love to support. Everybody love Alabama. They love Auburn. They love LSU. They love FSU. But our smaller schools in our hometown we have to support them. They have to be supported. We have to, guys. We have to show up for them. And I know it's kind of hard sometimes when you have to be out in South Alabama and they play at 2 o'clock, and then your school playing probably at 3:30, and you don't want to miss that game. But the local schools, we have to support. There's no excuse for it because we can get the scores of the big games. We can use our cell phones. There's places in the stadium that give those scores. With tailgating that gives those scores. We're probably not going to go to some of our big school games. So South Alabama give us the opportunity to go and tailgate and to fellowship and to meet somebody from another supporting team that you wouldn't normally meet. So go out, buy the tickets, make the investment, support South Alabama. And they're not paying me anything to say that. Maybe they should, but they're not. I just like them because they're local. I remember when we didn't have a football team here in Mobile, Alabama, and we always talked about having a football team to support. And now that we have one, because they're not good or because they're not our major team, we kind of put them on the back burner sometimes. And this is not the time to do that. The best time to support any team is when they're down, because it's easy to support when they're up. We're always there when they're up. You can't find a ticket. You can't do anything. But when they're down and you look around and nobody is there. So let's go out and let's support our Jags. All right? Please, let's do that. All right, another game. I mean, there was a lot of football, and there was a lot of great football. Like I told you, I'm not mad at the schools for playing small teams. I'm not mad at all. But one of the games that stood out to me, just off to itself is what I'm trying to say. Miami and Florida. Like I said, I was looking for Miami Hurricanes to kind of make that step up. But man, they made a statement. I didn't think the University of Florida was that bad of a team. Really didn't. I mean, coming and just kind of, waiting for them to take that next step and to see what I saw yesterday. Number 19, Miami of the ACC, just destroyed Florida of the SEC. Billy Napier might let him go middle of the season if this stays up. Now I'm not for firing a coach in the middle of the season. I believe in giving a coach a fair opportunity, 3 to 5 years, sometimes maybe 6 years. But let's be real. Napier wasn't really a splash hire. He was from the Sun Belt. And Florida, they really just wanted to, I think they was looking for a big name coach. And they couldn't find it. So they went the Florida State route as, hiring Mike Norvell from Memphis. And, and they went for Napier. Napier was doing great. He had his school going, up Sun Belt. He was making improvements. But he hasn't had great staff there at Florida. He hasn't had a great staff. And everybody know no matter how big or small your coach is, they have to have a great offense coordinator, great defense coordinator, linebacker coach, defensive back coach. Those coaches have to be great hires. You can't gamble on those coaches. You have to get the best of the best that's out there. And I don't think Florida necessarily did that. If it would, they would have went and played Charles Kelly or somebody like that. a lot of money. And people say, "Oh, Charles Kelly, he was at Florida State. He was defensive coordinator." But Charles Kelly was a great defensive back coach. That's why the University of Alabama kind of, dug in him and kind of let him know. That's why Deion had him for a minute. He's one of those pieces that can round a program, you know. So Florida haven't done that. Miami beat Florida 41-17. They led the whole game. They didn't have any worries. Now, what we have to tell ourselves is Florida a mid-tier SEC team? Because they looked at like a low Vanderbilt team. And I'm not saying that to take a hit at Florida. I'm just saying is that they didn't. Is Miami that good? Like I say, we really don't know until 4 or 5 games in, 6 games. We don't know what these teams are, but looking at things sometimes, and I tell y'all always, don't be so quick to judge these teams. Don't be, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the 6 and the 7 game may bring. Miami has been known to do good the first part of the season, and the last part of the season they just fall off and drop off, and they're nowhere to be found by the time the ACC championship game is played. Keep in mind, they only played in one ACC championship game, and they got dusted by Clemson. Speaking of Clemson, we talked Clemson. Where is Clemson now? Georgia just Thanos them. Gone. Open up with that. I didn't think Clemson. I don't know what's going on, but hey, Dabo has his team, and that's just what it is. Now I tell you all the time, we look at Alabama and West Kentucky, 63-0, and everybody say it's Alabama. What Alabama did open up with a small school is those guys' confidence are so high. Miami, guys' confidence are so high. You don't know what those teams are. They can just play the next 3 games off their confidence and just win. That's why I don't like playing in conference game or a huge game. It's good if you win, but when you lose, you don't know what's going to happen. So the first game should be a guaranteed win. I don't care what nobody say. Ole Miss, Farming, 76-0. Notre Dame, Texas A&M. I know Texas A&M, the SEC school, they're ranked number 20. Notre Dame is 7. I don't know what. Notre Dame need to get a conference. Well, how long somebody need to pressure Notre Dame to get in a conference. I think if Notre Dame make up their mind and get in a conference, no matter if it's the Big 12, no matter if it's the Big 10 or the ACC, they're not going into the SEC. I don't see Notre Dame ever being in the SEC. But somebody need to put pressure on Notre Dame because of how large of a brand they are. They gotta get in the conference, man. They have to. But when 23-13, that was one of the most I would say that was one of the most intriguing close game of the opening season because they were so closely matched. And it's good for Notre Dame, I think, to get that win, going forward. Let's just see what else we have. Everybody plays small schools, man, and I don't blame them. I don't knock that at all. I just wish. I hate playing conference games or big games. Even when Florida State played LSU, that made me so nervous. Sometimes you just want a guaranteed win so you can evaluate your players, so you can evaluate your coaching staff and how they're. We always talking about evaluating players, but how did the coaching staff do in these games, in these big games? They choke. Coaching staff don't necessarily look all great, doing these big games. They don't. They is just as much as fault as the players who can't get in position right to make a play. Because if it wasn't, then they would. They would make it happen. Purdue and Indiana State. Purdue 49-0, Indiana State. You can't. I'm telling you, when you play a small school it's relieving to get that win. Very relieving. You know, it, you just can't say it. Carr, completed. His what? Let me see, so I can just see making sure I'm talking straight facts about Purdue, because everybody thinking Purdue is one of those schools that's a good measuring stick. I wouldn't if Florida State opened up with Purdue, that would make me nervous. I want a guaranteed win. Open up with somebody that you can beat. Purdue, no. Indiana State would have scared me. So Purdue putting up 49-0 against Indiana State, man, you can't really beat that. Was that 273 passing yards, 4 passing TDs, 16-yard rushing, and what Card put up as a quarterback, on Purdue. You can't, man, you can't beat that. You want these type of wins, They, rushing, Jackson, 69, 83 rushing yards. Card, 16 rushing yards. They just went out there and it was a practice game for them, and they just did what they had to do. And they took what Indiana State gave them, which was everything, and they came out with a win. And I watch these schools like Purdue, because if Purdue get on a hot run, then guess what? Everybody, Purdue. Purdue always been scary to me. Like I said, they have that huge bass drum and they beating on it pretty good, at least their first game. Now, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen in the middle of the season. I mean, they still, let's see what Purdue has, let's see what Purdue have left on the schedule. See if I can find Purdue's schedule just to kind of see. Next game is Notre Dame. So Notre Dame, they play Notre Dame 3:30 on the next Saturday. Well, is that next Saturday? The 14th. Such on the 14th. They got Oregon State, Nebraska, Wisconsin at Wisconsin, Illinois at Illinois, and then they go to number 3 Oregon, Purdue. And could you imagine if Purdue opened up with Oregon or Northwestern? You know how big of a game that would be? I wouldn't want to open up with a conference game. I don't know why people sucker themselves into something like that, because it's going to count. Down the road, this stuff is going to count. Open up with a small school and stop. I don't get it. But let's go through. They got Notre Dame, Oregon State, Nebraska, at Wisconsin, at Illinois. Oregon comes to them. Northwestern comes to them. At Ohio State, number 2. They play number 7, which is Notre Dame, number 3 Oregon, number 2 Ohio State, and number 8 Penn State. Man, I see Purdue has one of the, and yeah, I'm talking about Purdue, but Purdue has one of the toughest schedules, probably, I wouldn't say the toughest, but one of the mid-range schedules in college football. And keep in mind, we don't know what's going to happen, but by the time they get to October the 18th and they play number 3 Oregon, if everything goes right, Oregon may be number 2, number 1. They play number 2 Ohio State and number 8 Penn State. Keep in mind, Michigan State, and they close out with Indiana. Woo! Like Ric Flair say, woo! Looking at this schedule alone, I'm looking at one. Let's say Purdue will beat Oregon State. I think Purdue will beat Nebraska. The Wisconsin game is up in the air. Illinois up in the air. They're not beating Oregon. Northwestern always a good game. They're not beating Ohio State, not beating Penn State. They're not beating Michigan State. By the time November comes, Purdue may have 6 losses. They're not beating Notre Dame. I want them to beat Notre Dame. Maybe they beat Notre Dame and force Notre Dame to get into a conference. So Purdue, Boilermakers, beat Notre Dame. Please. Jeez. And I'm touching on Purdue because somebody is liked and subscribed to Doc Sports, and they wanted me to talk about Purdue. I'm talking about Purdue. And Purdue looked good this weekend. Hats off to them. Let's see. Penn State and Western Michigan. Penn State 34-12. I mean, I've said Western Michigan, Western Virginia. I gotta slow down too. I think I move a little too fast sometimes. I'm thinking about one thing, but it's coming out. So Penn State, number 8, played West Virginia. 34-12. Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, the lower schools of the SEC beat Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech say they back because they come out to enter the Sandman. Virginia Tech, shut up. Sit your tail down. You in the ACC, bottom half. You haven't done anything since Frank Beamer left. And you ain't doing anything now. Now, you did beat Florida State with that swag surf. You did that now. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all swag surfed over Willie Taggart. And thank you, because we ended up finding Willie Taggart, which I didn't agree with. But that was probably the biggest win that you guys had in a long time. And the SEC is going to hang their hat on Vanderbilt beating Virginia Tech, because SEC is all about football. And they're going to say, hey, we're the best football conference. Our lowest school has beaten the ACC middle school, middle tier school. And I can't blame the SEC. Virginia Tech, shut up. Vanderbilt is smart, though. And Florida State can't say anything, because those smart schools like Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, all those tech schools like that, when they beat you, it stings a little bit. That's why I say I'm very interested in that Florida State and Boston College game, because either Florida State is just really sorry, or either Georgia Tech is just decent and they did something to them. But Vanderbilt, take your hat off. That's a decent win against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, you ain't there yet, but it's the first game. We have to make Virginia Tech may make a run in the ACC. Maybe the ACC is not what we think it is this year. Maybe Miami and Virginia Tech may end up playing for the ACC championship. We don't know what the ACC is right now. There's so much confusion. Everything is just off balance in the ACC. And it could start because it's just a crappy conference. And it's ran by a crappy commissioner that don't put anything into that conference when it comes to college football. They want to walk and talk and stump with the big dogs, but they can't. So we'll see. We will see. Oh, let's see what other interesting game we had. Oh, Texas and Colorado State. Yeah, Colorado State. I know. Yeah, the Rams. Seen Archie Manning get in there. Everybody been waiting on him. They have Quentin Ewers. Ewers. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he's an awesome quarterback. But for Archie Manning to come in and mop up duty to get that experience, we know Ewers can get hurt at any time. He did last year, and they need a solid backup. And Archie Manning is high ceiling. Eli Manning, Peyton Manning. He has the pedigree to be a great quarterback. And I heard them say they was comparing him to Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy. Never compare your quarterbacks to Colt McCoy. Because you remember the Alabama game where Colt McCoy gave up because his daddy didn't want him to come back out because he was more invested in his NFL career that he never had. Never compare your quarterback to Colt McCoy. He is a quitter. He's not good. He didn't go anywhere in the NFL. He was a decent quarterback for Texas. He definitely wasn't a Vince Young, and he definitely is not Archie Manning. So stop comparing him in any quarterback talk. But Colt McCoy is a quitter. He's selfish, and he didn't put his body on the line for his team. And I know what you're saying. Well, I ain't putting them. Nobody should put themselves on the line for the team. If you love your team, you don't care. You go out there with one leg, one rib, one arm. You're going to ride for your team. He didn't do that. He was selfish. Go back and look at it. Alabama gave him all the business and he couldn't handle it. He didn't want to get embarrassed, so he didn't come out there. If you're going to lose, you lose with your team. Colt McCoy. Stop comparing your quarterbacks to Colt McCoy. He ain't that. He never will. Will be. Go look at his NFL career. Garbage. Best thing he did was at Texas. All right. Alabama. Let's go come back in the state of Alabama. Troy, which is my alma mater, where I graduated from. Nevada. 28-26. More of an interesting game. Troy been down, but they got to play South Alabama. That's a big rivalry. But Troy haven't looked good in the last 2 years. They lost their coach, and they just haven't looked good. But I tell you something that's very interesting. Middle Tennessee, Texas Tech, 32-25. Good game. And, I think reason I brought that game up because I want them to see. I think Middle Tennessee, I want to say, end up playing. They in the Sun Belt. They got to play Liberty, La Tech. I thought they had to play Memphis, and that's where I was going with that. Yeah, they do play Memphis. September the 28th, they play Memphis, and Florida State play Memphis out there, I think, next week. And I'm interested to see how you see what happened. I want to see how Memphis is going to look again. Memphis played Troy on the 7th. When are they playing that game? And I might go to that game. Yeah, they play Troy at home. Memphis, I'm not going to that game. It was at Troy I would go. But they play Florida State on the 14th. Memphis does. And then they play Middle Tennessee on the 28th. If Memphis is good as advertised, I think they would be good. But I was really looking at Middle Tennessee, but I was going to lead into that Memphis game because of the comparison that they have coming up. That's what I was going with that. Auburn, Alabama A&M. I mean, it's a HBCU, 73-3. They gave HBCU. They gave Alabama A&M of the HBCU a nice check, and that's what I was saying. They could play this game in the spring, give Alabama A&M their check. That game didn't mean anything, but I get it. Trust me. Auburn wanted to see what they have before they go into, big boy play. I get that. But I hate to see somebody like Alabama A&M just get blasted by Auburn, because that kills their momentum. Even though Auburn done right because it boosts their player, but Alabama A&M got their head down right now because they don't know what happened. And I could tell you what they their mental aspect is. Mentality is, hey, we're going to go and we're going to lose. It's Auburn. We can't win. And we just going to get this check. Only a small amount of small schools go in and say, we're going to beat this team. Very small. And they end up probably getting close or give them a good scare, and usually do. But Auburn end up, they got to play Cal September the 7th. Cal come to Auburn. And that should be a pretty interesting game. That should be very interesting for two reasons. One, I want to say Cal is in the ACC now. So that's really a ACC and the SEC matchup. And you know how it is, SEC versus ACC versus Big Ten with these conferences. Everybody want to see what happens. You know, we still want to hang our hat if the ACC is good. We still want to hang our hat if the SEC is good. Big Ten is good. So we still want these games because we want to see where we stand, and we want the measuring sticks. And round bowl season, we want to say our conference beat your conference, and this is what happened. No. Auburn should beat Cal. If they don't, ACC gonna like, hey, we won we won against the SEC, and they're gonna exploit that, and they're gonna rightfully so. We beat the big bad SEC that ESPN loves. Oh, speaking of ESPN, how long y'all think Nick Saban is gonna last with McAfee? Because Nick Saban was side-eyeing like, who is this dude? McAfee Scott. He up there just bobbing, and Nick Saban like, hey man, I'm serious. I'm talking football. I've coached. Who is this clown? And I know why they got, McAfee up there. He's a hype guy. He's the Lil Jon of ESPN. But ESPN, let me tell you something. Nick Saban is a serious person when it comes to football. He's a professional, high elite. He ain't got time for a clown show. Either you're going to give him his own show and let him do his own thing with serious people, or you going to bring in Lil Jon and let McAfee have his own show. You can't have them together because it's going to be very awkward moments. You think Florida State giving Herb Street the business is awkward? You wait till Nick Saban starts side-eyeing McAfee for doing that clown crap that he does, trying to get all the attention to himself. This is not WWE, but hey, it's ESPN. They got the money. But I guarantee if it get up, Nick Saban won't finish the season out with that clown. Or they'll move Nick Saban off to himself. That's one thing I'm looking at upcoming weekend. How Nick Saban is. That was the best side eye of the year. Nick Saban looking back, he was serious. He was looking at Mac was over there dancing. He was like, Nick Saban is serious. That man is one of the most professional people that you would ever know that represent this sport. And you put him next to a clown, a WWE guy. Hell, you should have got the real Lil Jon. Lil Jon would have been more professional. He just would have hit that cue and say I can't say it, Lil Jon produced a lot of shows. Windows to the wall, till the sweat dropped down my Yin Yang Twins. Go look and see who produced that, and then you come back to me. Lil Jon, East Side Boys. Just saying. That was just one of the things that just stood out to me. That was so funny though. Really funny. Nick Saban said, I gave up coaching for this. I think not. Oh, Illinois did beat Eastern Illinois 45-0, by the way. So Illinois do have a good time. How about North Carolina and Minnesota, which one of the better games of the year? So far, first weekend, 19-17. That was a great game. All right, so what we got coming tonight? We got USC and LSU tonight. Sunday goes down 6:30 p.m. I have LSU in that game. Tomorrow night we got FSU and Boston College, which I think is going to be one of the awesome game. I just hope that FSU can pull it out because everybody know I am an FSU fan, but I do talk about all college football. I really don't have any other things to talk about right now. Women basketball is out there. Caitlin Clark, Reese, they still interacting. They still going at it. And, enjoy the play of women basketball. Don't try to make it everything a competition between those two. They're two great players. Sit back and enjoy them. Stop trying to make everything so competitive. I know it's a competitive sport, but it ain't got to be overly competitive. Caitlin Clark, Rookie of the Year. Reese, most rebounds in as a rookie in women basketball ever. Enjoy them. I would love to see them on the same Olympics team. By the way, that would have been awesome. You know, we thought the All-Star game with them was awesome being on the same team. You know, but the Olympic team, 4 years with those two, I might go buy me an American flag shirt. I don't want to disrespect the flag though. I won't buy a whole American flag shirt, but maybe one with a little flag on the chest or something like that. But enjoy those two. What they're doing in women basketball right now, they're bringing attention back to it. You know, Swoops and all those, all them. They did their thing. Michelle Snow, Snow, who I went to school with. I love Snow. I wish I would have had enough money, when she was playing to go see her when she was playing for the Comets, but I didn't, and I missed a great opportunity. But every time she see me, my wife, she always give us love. So big shout outs to it. Pensacola, Florida. That's what's up. That's my hometown. Just everybody know Roy Jones, Derrick Brooks. We don't claim Emmitt Smith because he don't claim us. But yeah. All right, guys. So that's all I have so far. Keep in mind, I'm Marquise Dupree. This is Doc Sports. Yeah, Doc Sports. Like and subscribe. Continue watching. Pass the word. Like I said, we growing. This is the day after college football. I mean, well, it's the whole college football weekend. This whole weekend. This is Sunday. We still got money to go. So we still got NFL games. We got boxing. We got a lot of sports to cover coming up in the next few weeks. Let me know what you want to talk about, especially college football. Let me know how the show is going, what you want to see. Like and subscribe, pass the word. Marquise Dupree, Doc Sports. Love y'all.